Well, hello, all of my listeners. And today we are talking about stories. You know, that story that's inside of you that you want to tell, the story that you know changes other people, that impacts others. That's what we're going to be talking about today. So let's get on to the show. You're listening to Be in Demand, the podcast for honest advice, inspiring stories, and ideas for growing your business by leveraging the expert that you are. I'm your host, Laurie-Ann, business mentor, and I'm also a reformed painfully shy girl, red wine lover, and exercise enthusiast. Join me as I share how being positioned as the expert in your industry, even if it's a busy one, will help you stand out and be the one in demand to hire and work with. You know, I ran across this statistic that said 81% of the population wants to write a book. And that's huge. The stat actually said there's 200 million Americans who have a dream or a desire or a goal to write a book. Now, the percentage of people who actually follow through on that's another stat and another story for another show. But it amazes me that there's 81% of the people who want to share their story with others. And as somebody who's written a couple of books and several workbooks, I know that feeling. I wrote my first book when I was just first starting as a professional speaker in the leadership industry. And I wrote the book because first of all, the truth is, having gone to National Speakers Association, they kept saying at that time, write a book, write a book, write a book. And so I just took the advice and wrote the book. It really was one of the best things that I could do for my speaking career. But it helped me really to organize my thoughts. And part of the reason why I wrote the book was I knew that in a 30-minute presentation, because I'd been in an audience so many times before, that, there's only so much material that you're going to take away with you. So the book was a way for me to, one, have something to sell in the back of the room, but more importantly, be able to continue to share my story, something for people to refer to. Now, I just want to stay on this topic of story, because I remember a good friend of mine who I met early on in my speaking career also, Tom Asacker. He's written a number of books. And I remember one of his first books, and inside that there was a very powerful line that stories sell. And I'll just take you back to a particular time that I actually went to the mall, probably during Christmas time, and went into the Bath and Body Shop and was purchasing something and was considering making this purchase for an item that I was like, does this really work? And, it was a little pricey for this whole set. And the girl told me a story. And the story sold me. I was done. There's a number of times that I have purchase products that were probably I was just is it worth it? This is a little out of the normal price that I would pay for something like this. But it's the story that the salesperson told me. And that sold me. It was just literally sold. I'm taking it home. So I want to really talk a little bit more about these stories. But let me just take a little break here, because I'm wondering if you feel like you've been procrastinating on creating, that presentation, or that keynote until you get booked. If you have been trying to get booked to speak, but because you don't have a keynote presentation, you can't say yes. So it's almost like this vicious cycle, and that's really a strategy that doesn't work. And I understand, because I was there at one point. And how would you like to get that presentation crafted and done? And I'm not talking about just any presentation. I'm talking about the one that you're going to feel really proud delivering. One that gets you booked, both with clients and more speaking engagements. A presentation that makes you look like a pro right from the very first time that you walk out on the virtual or in-person stage. I want to tell you about a program that I'm going to be running, a small group program in the coming months. I'll be teaching you my 3 C's presentation process, which is compelling, captivating, and most importantly, converting. Inside this intimate program, you're going to learn how to grab your audience's attention right from the very first words that you speak, how to build that know, like, and trust instantly, establish your credibility, to give the audience a reason to keep listening to you. Why Q&A is not for the end of your presentation, and you're going to be surprised at where it should be. How to have your audience on the edge of their seats with your stories and your takeaways. What parts you should memorize, and the reasons why I tell my clients to do so. I'll take you behind the scenes so that you can see how a presentation transforms from idea into verbal art so that you can do it again and again every time you want to write a new presentation or speech. You'll also get to learn speaking tips to help you look and feel confident, because I want you to look like you've been gracing the stage for years. Ready to get positioned as the expert, attract perfect clients, and monetize your authority? Well, speaking is the fastest way to grow your business while building know, like, and trust. Having a speech will attract the perfect clients to you and get you rebooked again and again. So if you're ready to craft a speech that is compelling, captivating, and most importantly, converting, then get on the waitlist for In-Demand Signature Speech, where you'll learn my step-by-step process to build a speech that gets your audience's attention, explains why you're the expert to keep listening to, share immense value while subconsciously addressing the objections your audience is thinking and feeling, so that when you share the next step, it's a no-brainer for them to say yes. Let's get your presentation ready for you to deliver with confidence. Stop wasting time, energy, and money building a business the hard way. Join the waitlist for In-Demand Signature Speech at speakandstandout.com/SS. How to sell and pitch from the stage with my seed planting selling method so that you sound authentic and not like a pushy 30-minute info commercial. How to turn one talk into 20 minutes, 45 minutes, 60 minutes, and even a workshop. This is not going to be one of those passive learning programs. Besides learning videos, I'm also going to be providing space to work together so that you're able to get your presentation done with no more excuses. You'll also have the opportunity to practice and give your presentation so that you get real-time feedback to make you stand out and deliver a presentation that gets you a standing ovation. So if you're ready to finally share your message, your story, and your ideas with the world, I want you to join my waitlist. The link is in the show notes. And if you have any questions, send me a DM over in Instagram. The container for this program will be small and intimate so that you have my eyes on your presentation. So space is going to be extremely limited. If this is calling you, I want to encourage you to get on the wait list today. So speaking is just one way to get your stories out there. And deciding on what your platform is going to be and like how you're going to share your story. It's your story that helps other people realize, wow, if she can do it, I can do this also. And back to what Tom said about stories sell. The reason why stories sell is because your audience, the people who are listening to your story, can visualize themselves in your story, can see it happening for them, for others, just like because they're hearing the evidence from you and your story. And the other part of stories is that they're entertaining. I like to call, like when we're speaking and sharing our stories and what the lessons are for people to take away, it's what I call edutainment. And meeting planners and conference, organizers love speakers who have that edutainment, ability, because, Your audience knows like, hey, there's this 30-minute, 45, 60-minute presentation that they're going to be sitting through. And with edutainment, it really makes that time just fly by. So your audience needs to be able to like picture themselves in your story and see themselves succeeding with whatever you're talking about. And here's something that I hear a lot of people say when it comes to crafting stories. They think, I don't have a story. Like nothing interesting has happened in my life. And I'm here to tell you that you don't have to have climbed Mount Everest. You don't have to have survived a plane crash. You know, in the NSA world, National Speakers Association world, you know, we sort of laugh about the need to have something like catastrophic that happened to us. But the truth of the matter is, those things don't happen every day to everybody. And yeah, it's great if you did climb Mount Everest, but to the average person, like that is such a far-fetched dream. That is something that most people are never, ever going to do. If there's an obstacle that you overcame that's very everyday-ish, I'll call it, I'm making up new words here, everyday-ish, that's what people love. That's what people can see themselves actually doing. That's where they can, oh, wow, if she did that, because they're hearing your before story, your during story, your after story, and they're like, that's me, that's me, that's me. Oh my gosh, I can do that. That's what stories do. And as a matter of fact, you know, if we start to get into like the neuroscience stuff of this, you know, you've heard me say that every belief that you have is really just a very, very short story that you've been telling yourself over and over and over again. And maybe you're thinking, are you sure, Laurie-Ann? So think about the stories that you tell yourself that start with, I can't, I don't have, you know, it could be like, I don't have time to do XYZ. I can't start my own business because I'm a busy mom. I can't speak because I'm shy. Those are just mini stories that you're telling yourself over and over and over again. What if you told yourself a different story? I can speak because I'm shy. I can get things done because I'm a busy mom. I know how to organize my time. I am able to get out there and share my message because I'm passionate about helping more people. So maybe changing your story is going to help you tell more stories. So what is your story? You know, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, I believe that we are all storytellers. And when we do tell stories, that's when selling becomes easy and effortless. As a matter of fact, you've probably heard me tell my story about how I got started in this. How did I transition from the world of public speaking, hopping on airplanes, and speaking on stages at conferences, for company programs, to helping now the entrepreneur, the careerist with their personal brand, the business owner with using speaking to market their business. This is my origin story. And the story goes like this. I was just tired of hopping on airplanes to get to work, basically. And I literally was like, universe, like, I just need a new business model. And that the answer from the universe actually came in the form of a text message that said, Laurie-Ann, do you write speeches for people? And I thought, I don't write speeches for people. But because I knew who this person was, I decided to meet with her for coffee. She'd heard me speak a couple of times. She actually won a coaching session. That was why, and she was local, and so that's why we sat down for coffee. And she was 3 years away from retiring from her government job. She wasn't leaving her government job, but she'd had a side hustle that was going to become her retirement thing for 5 years. And for 5 years, she'd been losing money because she was just trying to figure this whole thing out. And I said, well, I'll show you how to use speaking. I'll show you how to get booked. I can teach you how to write a presentation. I can teach you how to leverage it. After her first presentation, she got referred to 2 other places to speak, and she walked away with 3 full paying clients. To me, that was a home run. And it just made me think, I wonder if other people would want to know what I know. And that's how I got into this particular space. So that's one of my origin stories. And it can be, the story's captivating, it's compelling, and I know it converts because I hear people say all the time, oh my God, that's amazing. And people can see themselves in that story. And that's what crafting an amazing story, an amazing presentation can do for you. So one tip before we end here, I want to let you know that you don't have to craft a gazillion stories. No, as a matter of fact, telling the same story again and again and again can become one of your signature stories that you give in your signature speech. Because the more that you tell the story again and again, you're actually going to get better at telling the story. There's going to be more voice inflectuation. You can, actually act it out if you're in person or virtually. There are different ways to act it out virtually versus in person. And that's something that I teach my clients or inside the speaking program that I'm going to be starting. But there's a way just to draw people in to your story and giving that same story over and over again. I mean, that's the good news, that you don't have to keep crafting all of these different stories. What I teach, you get to decide what lesson is best going to serve the audience that you are speaking in front of. So your lessons can change, but the story can stay the same. And the same goes true for how many presentations do you need? I get that question a lot. And guess what? You don't need a gazillion presentations either. I actually teach people how to easily customize your signature talk for the audience that you're going to be speaking for so that they feel like you wrote it just for them. And that's always, it's kind of like when you go into the fine restaurant and it's the lemon that's on the glass. It's just like, that's what customizing a presentation is like to the audience. They feel like you know them, you get them, and you wrote it just for them. So I hope that you enjoyed this. I enjoyed sharing this stuff about stories, and I hope that it's just kind of spark some ideas in your head. What are some of the common everyday things that happen to you that can be used as analogies, or even what metaphors can you have to use in your presentations, in your stories? Because all of this can be used in your sales process also. So if you're ready to start crafting and get your presentation done and not just something that you're thinking about, let's get that done. Get on the wait list. Don't be like the 81% of the Americans, who want to write a book. And I'm sure that 81% is actually probably a good representation globally. Don't be part of the 81% that wants to do this. Let's actually be a part of the group of people who actually get it done. And let's start sharing your story, because your story matters and your story is going to change other people. And there are people that are out there that are waiting to hear your story. So jump on that wait list, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks for hanging out with me. Be sure to hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. And join me over in my private Facebook group for more tips, community, and free trainings. You'll find the link in the show notes. You can also help this podcast reach more listeners by leaving a review. And as a thank you, each month I pick one of my reviewers to win a free coaching call with me. So if you haven't done so already, please leave a review and you could be the next winner.